Thank you, Wayne. Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Cicero Planning Board meeting. Would you please join us in the pledge? Ashley, would you do the honors of leading us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from the April 20th meeting. Any questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as printed.
All right, second.
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes,
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes, minutes have been approved. Now we'll open the meeting to public input. Is there anybody here that would like to address the board on any active application? Given nobody's approach, we'll close the public input and move on to the first agenda item, which is the South Bay Road Fire Department. This is a proposed electronic messaging board. Is there a representative here for the fire department? No? We expected them.
Yeah, we did.
We'll move to the next agenda. Maybe they're running a little bit late. We'll move to the next item. So we'll go to Lions Run. This is a continuation of a public hearing for a subdivision, 73 lot subdivision on Cicero Center Road. Welcome back.
I think tonight might just be a formality, but my name is Steve Calstrinos, Labella and Associates, here representing developers of the next section of Lions Run subdivision. It's approximately 48 acre parcel, 73 proposed lots over between 4 or 5 phases, depending on how things go in the future. But it is zoned R12, and I think, as we've mentioned in past meetings, the project does have an Army Corps permit for wetland impacts. It's providing the wetland areas in a deed restrictive area, I think. Conservation easements in addition to that throughout the project. Stormwater management facilities, roads, sewers. There's a proposed pump station that will serve phase 2 until the end of the project. The first phase will be a connection of the 2 streets coming in off of the existing Lions Run that you can see in the upper right corner of the project. Those are served by gravity sewer extension from the existing subdivision, so those will be extended. Everything will go in gravity, and then future sections will be tributary to the pump station. So I guess right now tonight, we're just looking for approval of the preliminary plan so that we can move on to contract drawings and the town board.
Okay. Go through the public input first.
You'd have to close it if you want.
Let me just, is there anybody here that would like to address this? Anybody from the public that would like to speak to the public hearing? If not, I will close the public hearing and open it for board comment. Jim?
How many existing homes are there in this project?
In the existing sections Lions Run that's almost completed, I am not aware of the total number. It may be somewhere in the ballpark of 60 something, 63, but I'm not
Okay,
sure.
and you're adding 73?
Adding 73.
Okay. There was mention of gutters on Cicero Center Road, if I read it correctly.
By the county?
Yeah, that,
The county DOT had a comment. They were under the impression there were gutters being proposed for the road section, which were not. They were,
okay. I
the
thought
area that was shown is the permeable shoulder,
I thought that
and
sounded
they mistook that for
strange.
gutters, so. But we did have to make an adjustment to the road profile coming out to Cicero Center Road, which we did, and they've acknowledged and are okay with it.
Okay.
Mr. Abbey?
Steve. There, of course, was a traffic study done.
Yes.
And as I recall, one thing is that they requested a update for revamping of where the Cicero Center Road met 31.
Yes, New York State DOT is looking for, as part of condition of the approval, some improvements be made to the signal, the existing signal, and the vehicle detection at that signal prior to filing of the final map.
Okay, I'm all set for now. Thank you.
Mr. Snyder.
The only, have we done a water test? Have we got water pressure for these 70 some odd additional homes?
We've been in contact with Aqua, and Aqua doesn't have any concerns of being able to serve the site.
Yeah, I'm really starting to worry about the water pressure in our town because every one of these developments we put in, or big box stores or whatever, oh yeah, there's plenty of pressure. It'll take care of it. Yet we had an individual stand up at our last meeting indicating that he lived in a particular neighborhood here and how over the years where he could run a shower and a dishwasher and something else, he can't do that anymore. And we know we've had problem with the highway garage. We know that the couple other facilities have had to put in fire pumps. I just would hope that you really get the word from them. I know I asked Nancy White, and I'm sure she hasn't had time to do that yet, but to get with Agua to see what their long-term plans are, because we need another tower in this town. And every one of these developments says, yeah, the pressure's okay. Well, I can't believe that the pressure is okay for hundreds of houses that we put in since there's been any major infrastructure put in by Agua, except they're running water down to Madison County and, who knows where else. So, but for now, that's all I'm concerned about.
Mr. Bloss.
I'm all set.
Mrs. Hogan.
So it would be next afterwards that we get to see like what's being knocked down and what's being taken out? Is that the next phase? Or how do I know that in terms of what's actually being taken out to be replaced? Like trees and land, like what land is being touched?
The first phase of this next section or next area is going to be that upper right-hand corner. You can see the dark gray, which represents the existing wetlands up there.
Mhm.
So everything above that is intended to be developed as the next section of Lions Run. And that would be the first thing to go. Right now, there's a pocket of trees up in the corner. Half of it's probably trees, half of it's probably open pasture.
Okay. No, I'm concerned about the water pressure as well, but
And we'll certainly contact Aqua and coordinate again with them during contract drawings when we go through the town board. And we'll work with Mr. Fiorello on that.
and I
If
think
there's
I would
any-
want to see too, like the next phase, exactly what trees and what's not being preserved with this too. Yeah.
If you want. So in a subdivision, during preliminary plan, this really is your chance to get that understanding.
Okay.
Once the preliminary plan is approved, the next time you see the project, it's the final plan. By that time, it's developed. This particular project, and basically, when you look at these plans, anywhere you see a lot or a road, you can basically assume. This particular project, it's mostly open field, meadow. There's a little bit of woods in the site, but again, that's all going to be taken down. When you're looking at subdivisions, pretty much best at anything.
Okay. I guess I would be interested to know exactly how much is being disturbed, like how much wooded area is being disturbed by this. And if there was any effort to avoid that.
Yeah, this is unlike that last subdivision we looked at or are looking at. There's no green space
Okay,
like the wood area that, pretty much like Mark said, any residential lot you see there, it's going to be regraded. It's going
Okay.
to have the proper sloping away from the houses. There's going to be drainage in the back. It's all going to be turned up.
There are some projects where there's tree lines and those types of things. This project really doesn't afford that. I think that's, you're probably looking at a half acre.
Yeah, by the time they do the infrastructure, it's gone.
okay.
You know, you're doing street lights.
We have coordinated with the town board and the town engineer on street lighting. We are going to be setting up a lighting district, but our understanding is there really hasn't been anything set in stone as far as how that process is going to move forward. They're still working with National Grid on what their requirements are as well as their other options. So we're aware of it, but there hasn't been anything finalized yet.
I have nothing further. Steve? Neil? Mark?
Touched on the DOT improvements. Need to be done again before the first section, final plan of the first section filed or approved by the board. The other thing, I guess, is that there is an area, we have a couple large areas where they're providing conservation easements, mainly around the wetland areas. Two of those, both of them are going to be part of a single lot. Regardless, Gil's looked over the initial draft of that.
Yeah, I can speak to that. I was presented the conservation easement, looked it over. As of now, it's okay. I'm satisfied with it. You know, things could change as they get closer to when it's actually gonna be filed, because it won't be filed. I've had this discussion.
Good.
As far as the underlying.
At this point.
That wouldn't have to be executed at this point.
Is that it, Mark?
Yes.
Well, I'll move for the standard seeker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss,
Yes.
and I vote yes for the seeker, passes. You would you propose a motion, please?
Yes, you're gonna move for the adoption of a resolution approving the application known as Major Subdivision Preliminary Plan, Lions Run, Cicero, New York. Cicero Center Road, tax map number 80.1-14-01-.0, 73 lots. This approval is strictly conditioned on the following. One, the applicant is hereby advised that pursuant to section 185.6 subdivision F of the code, the applicant has 90 days from the approval to file the map. If the applicant misses the 90-day filing deadline, this preliminary. When I'm referring to the map, I'm referring to the preliminary. It's not the final. The applicant, two, the applicant will install street lighting to be provided as part of the subdivision improvements. The applicant should coordinate with the town board during the review of the contract drawings for this. Three, the planning board notes that the applicant has submitted a proposed conservation easement, which is subject to further review by the town as an easement, this easement will not be filed at the preliminary plan stage development. Will be required to be filed in conjunction with the final plan. Lastly, the applicant is further notified that the chairman of the planning board may delay signing of the plan until the chairman verifies the applicant has executed any necessary undertakings or agreements.
Would somebody like to make that as a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do we have another bite at this apple? Sounds awful final.
But it's not.
You really don't. You will see it again, but it's basically administrative review. At this point, this project will go to the planning or the town board for review of contract drawings. Infrastructure will be built, and then once the infrastructure is substantially completed, the applicant will come back for filing of final plan. Tasked with approving that final plan. It'll probably be in sections. You won't, not going to build this all at once. You'll probably be working on this next 5+ years of sections of this coming in. As far as the lot layout, facilities, traffic impact, all those types of things, those are to be looked at.
Dan, did you have other questions on it?
I guess I vote no.
Mr. Blas?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see the fire department is here for the sign. You're not for that. AT&T. This is for a proposed telecommunication tower. Something. Co-location. What do you say? How do you say?
Co-location.
Co-location. This is for the tower out
For the
back.
tower right out there, yeah. So my name is Jake Lehman. I'm here tonight on behalf of AT&T seeking approval for a 20-foot extension on the tower right outside for AT&T to co-locate their equipment onto.
We just got stuff tonight.
Mhm.
And looks to me like you're encroaching on the easement.
On National Grid's easement.
Is it marked as the grid? Yes.
So from our understanding, that box that is outlined is Crown Castle's easement for the tower, which goes all the way down to where the existing building was, that's no longer there.
Mark, this line we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
That's the easement you're encroaching on.
And what I'm talking about is the Crown Castle easement that was granted to them 15 or so years ago, down at the bottom. From our documents, what we have is that's how far the easement goes for the tower itself. And as far as we know, we're allowed to put our equipment shelter there.
Council.
I haven't seen anything that indicates that. So if you're saying that you have some kind of underlying easement that allows you to put that on the easement, right now you're approaching a national grid.
You're talking about this line here?
Yep, that line right there is what we have from Crown Castle, saying their easement goes all the way down to there.
But the issue is that your project is going into national grid.
It was an easement for access, not for putting stuff there. That used to be a driveway and, and was set up with Dartmouth Mohawk as a national grid, as a drive to get to their property, which was the old highway garage.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, Crown Castle had approved us to put our shelter there, so I'm not sure at this point. I'd have to reach out to them to see if they have any more information for us then.
I think you'd have to reach out to the easement holder you're approaching. And you just get permission.
I mean, Steve, the land is still owned by the town?
Yes.
I think he's correct that the Crown Castle does have an easement in that area. But when the property was subdivided, another easement was granted to National Grid, really concurrent, with their easement. So what we need to find out is what are the conditions of that easement? Is it an encroachment into that allowed? I'm assuming that Atlantic was aware of this granted over there. I can't say that for sure, but
We just don't know. We're on an examination of both. Or I would think simple solution would be to commitment from national grid.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the National Grid easement. From what we were told by Crown Castle, is it's about an 8,000 square foot parcel, which is shown up there, about 80 feet by 100 feet, and that we were allowed to have our equipment there under the easement granted by the town.
Right. Well, it's something that we're going to need clarification on before we can move forward.
Yeah, I mean, we have access to Crown's easement. As far as I know, we can provide that to you.
Yeah, if if I could see that.
Let's see if there's any other questions, Jim?
The whole easement issue has come up several times, and I would think that we need to see some of this in writing, or, we need clarification.
We
as
definitely
to-
need clarification, but I can see where your misunderstanding was, yeah. They thought they had it, an easement to the lower line.
Isn't it in writing when an easement's given?
It is.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, it's really not an effective easement unless it's been in writing and.
Recorded,
with the
yeah.
county clerk's office. It's out there. I don't have it to review it, the actual underlying easement. They're all on Crown Castle. Crown Castle was first and there's, then the National Grid easement came after. I just don't know because I haven't provided any of that.
Yeah, the original drawings that we have from Crown Castle for the easement, there's no National Grid easement there. So I do believe Crown Castle is first. I don't believe that'd be an issue to provide.
Anything else? Chuck?
I was curious, you're talking about a 20-foot extension?
Mhm.
Now, is that the type of extension that's, and then an emergency breaks off rather than the whole tower coming down?
I'm not positive. I have to reach out to my engineering team about that one.
Okay.
They would know better than I would.
Because, if you got a, say, 120-foot tower,
Mhm.
falls 120 feet away.
Yeah, the tower itself right now structurally passes at 77%. So there would still be room to add a lot more equipment to it. I'm just not sure if that's how the tower would fall if.
Okay, well, be interesting to have that answer. Thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
Do we have a light on the top of this tower?
No, the FAA one doesn't require one.
But if I go down 31 about quarter of a mile or half a mile down, there's a cell tower with a light blinking on it. I can see it out my window. And I don't think that tower is even as tall as the one that you're gonna have here.
So it all has to do with distance to the airport itself. When we go through our process to get these towers built, to extend them, to add our equipment, we reach out to the FAA to make sure that there's no lighting or anything required by them on top of this tower. And as far as I know, there isn't in this
So
case.
you'll present to our lawyer that letter, that approval?
And if there is, it'll obviously be up there, the light, but as far as I know, we aren't required to have one.
Okay, good.
Mr. Bloss?
No further questions.
Mrs. Hogan?
No question.
I have none either. Steve?
All set, thanks.
Neil?
No, other than you're gonna provide me the two easements to look it over.
We don't have access to the National Grid one since we're dealing with, okay. Then I'll see if we can get our hands on that then.
Mark?
No.
Anything else from you?
No.
All right, we're good for tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next item is for a zone change recommendation to the town board. This is for property at 6352 East Taft Road. And it's for Syracuse Regional Airport Authority. Good evening.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Mellon, the Chief Commercial Officer. I'm representing the Syracuse Regional Airport Authority tonight. With my associate Arjun Nair, he's our planner. On the survey here, this on the north side of the airport, we have two parcels. Combined, they total 101 acres. We recently received FAA approval to have this land released for non-aeronautical use. And we're here today to ask for board approval for a zone change. Currently, both parcels are a mix right now of general, commercial, and industrial zoning. And we're asking that they both be zoned general, commercial plus to be consistent with the Hancock Air Park parcels across the street, just to keep all of our options open for development at later time.
Thank you. Questions? Mr. Duval?
No.
Mr. Abbey?
All set.
Mr. Snyder?
I'm just not sure with what I'm looking at, what property we're talking about. I mean, is it shown on,
It's the old barracks site, which is on the north side of the campus, right off of East Taft Road. directly across the street from Hancock Airport. Wish I could zoom out. That's it. correct.
Okay, and what was the other drawing that shows roads that look like, you know, what?
That's,
That's what
that's
you-
a survey. That's,
Still barracks.
yeah, that's a 174th
So
barrack
that's
site.
dirt roads or something around where the barracks used to be?
Those are actually paved roads that have kind of been overgrown since the barracks was removed.
Okay, I'm good.
Mr. Bloss,
I'm all set.
Mrs. Hogan,
All set.
I have no questions either. Steve,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Neil, Mark. Seeker. No. Make a motion for recommending approval, please.
Second.
I made the motion. Go ahead, Neil.
I'll read it out for you. You're gonna move to adopt a resolution recommending the zone change application known as Syracuse Regional Airport Authority, 6352 East Staff Road and East Staff Road, tax map 57-223, general commercial and industrial to general commercial plus.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Jim, we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Abbey got the second. Mr. Duval,
Yes.
Mr. Abbey,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Mr. Bloss,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good luck with the town board. Next item on the agenda is a site plan. This is for the property at 8448 Wayfair Drive. It's a proposed office space. Representative here. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Based on the discussions we had at the last time we were here, you can see that the elevations have been provided. The trees along the side have been included, and the garage areas, what we have proposed is having one on each side and then one at the end of the building. And any questions you have? I think that there might be another drawing of what the building looks like.
Yeah, Mark, can you put the elevation up?
This would be, what would be facing South Bay Road?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be south elevation, right?
I think they, yeah, I think they, I don't know if they corrected it or not, yeah. They.
No. The north.
Yeah.
That's got to be changed to the south.
Okay.
Not the first time.
Yes, that's correct. The woods there. Yeah, there's kind of a forest back there.
Yeah, if we change the north arrow anyway, then it'll be right too.
Got to get the sun to cooperate. Questions, Mr. Duval?
As far as the garage doors themselves, this is the intention of what they'll look like. It's a gable type, you know, pretty dressy drawers.
Do you have color schemes for the whole building?
No, I didn't bring those with me, but. So do we have it? Yeah, we talked about that today, but my son didn't get a chance to send them to me before the
Yeah.
meeting.
We had one set of drawings. And this is the newest set.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
And the changes are the doors.
the doors in the building has been moved slightly forwards towards Wayfair.
Okay.
Or,
I think before also they had a larger area. Basically, all the gravel and everything was put up on this side of the building. reduce that to just a drive, to kind of move this area back here. That way, is any outdoor storage equipment proposed, or is this just to access to there?
That's just to access the area. There could be potential of a short-term trailer or something like that out there.
Well, and if you're gonna use it for outdoor storage, you're gonna want that noted on. That might factor into the board. Looking at the fencing or area or additional. Plan on using that for
Okay.
outdoor storage.
Definitely.
Either way, so that you have to say whether or not, if you're going to use it for outdoor storage, yes, if you're not, you can't just omit it, yeah, but other stuff will not.
Okay.
At least so you know.
Sure.
And the cupolas, they're just for decoration.
Yes.
And this fronts on South Bay or Wayfair?
The front of the building head is way fair.
Wayfair, Wayfair, okay.
The access. Site that that front is on South Bay.
Right.
Yeah, access.
Yeah, and that's why
Okay.
it's dressed up the way it is.
All right, I'm good.
Chuck?
I'm curious, though, could you just give us a brief rundown on the color schemes
Yes.
and the material? Looks like stone along the bottom of your feet.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And the verticals are regular boards or like Q111 or,
I can't say.
okay,
It appears to be a steel building.
I'm hoping
Oh,
metal panels.
Yeah.
okay. right.
I think that the color scheme was to match the building next door in the area, but
And I'm also curious, could you give us like just a synopsis of what type of business and how it runs?
the
Okay.
business is a investigative services
Okay,
business.
investigating,
Basically investigating everywhere from workers' compensation fraud to welfare fraud to
oh,
work with the state on various projects. Some of our biggest stakeholders include the state of New York and in several different departments.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
I think that as I come down South Bay and I see the building, I'm gonna see stone on the long side, but I won't see it on the back. But I will be looking at that when I drive down the street. But along with that, if you thought you were gonna put any storage in that back area, then I would be suggesting that we at least fence two sides of that area, and then I wouldn't care about what the back of the building looks like from South Bay as I'm driving south on South Bay.
Okay.
And I guess I'm wondering what the board thinks about all the stone driveway. I know from a cost standpoint, it could be a lot to pave that,
Yeah.
but
Well, we're a small business and, we're not being financed by,
the government
yeah,
understood.
or large corporations. And that's kind of the purpose is we thought it would be cost prohibitive to
Yeah,
pave the whole area.
I wanted to address that as well, but curious what happens, I mean, the building is just one warehouse, it's all just open?
Well, in the offices up front.
Floor plan does not reflect that.
Right.
The floor plan just shows it wide open. So what happens what kind of traffic is going through that stone? How much traffic?
Very, very little.
What's going on inside of the warehouse, the big warehouse?
It's just for storage of equipment.
What kind of equipment?
Anything from, it's basically our surveillance equipment. We have vans, we have motor homes, we have all various means of basically changing things up when we're doing our investigation.
Is it vans and motorhomes?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
How often are they coming in and out?
Not very often. I mean, just it's an ad need basis. And it depends on the type of surveillance we just need it available in the event that it's required. You know, we do business throughout the state of New York, so, you know, a lot of times we're moving these units anywhere within New York State.
How many times a week?
I would say not even once a week, other than like maybe the vans or the vehicles. We have various different types of vehicles as well.
Don, the reason I'm asking those questions of the stone, how much use it's getting? Pretty minimal use.
But there's no reason other than for our vehicles going in and out of there, and that's not very, it's not gonna be every day, you know.
How many employees are involved?
In the building itself, just 4 or 5 throughout the state, mainly in the field, about 50.
Okay. And then didn't notice, is there any signage on the building or out front?
No.
Okay.
No intention of that.
Thank you.
We don't want to advertise.
They also don't advertise on the side of their vehicles, or, you know.
Right.
I'm investigating you guys. Smile. Be working, smile here on camera.
Don, anything else?
Nothing for me.
For us?
I'm all set.
Mrs. Hogan?
I was just wondering, the landscaping on my sheet must be old because you have more trees or bushes or something over there on that side. I don't see that on mine. Am I just looking at the wrong sheet?
Those did get added just recently.
There was an
Okay.
electronic version sent.
So the one that they sent us to our email had those ones on it? Is that what it was? Okay.
We don't have the hard copies yet.
No, yesterday or today.
I knew I'd seen them. I was sitting there looking for them. Where are they?
Yeah.
I guess I would just ask that kind of be added in when you tell us the color scheme, exactly like what landscaping, like what trees are and where, and like what we're looking at, like how many, where they're placed.
Okay.
The plan here shows existing landscaping here. Are you taking on that responsibility now? I know it was done when they did the development.
What landscape?
Right up in the corner.
Oh, Joseph's Landing, that,
Yeah.
yeah, that we intend to have that stay.
Is that yours now? I mean, the trees have fallen down.
Around the sign? I didn't really notice that.
It
but
needs to be,
Yeah,
who owns that now? Who, is it part of the, do we know?
Whoever owns the lot owns it now.
Yeah.
I had like sell them and have that on there because and why you have those trees in there. I asked them if there was an easement for them. Typically, there's an easement for those times.
There's not one on the subdivision plan, and I think that sign was added sometime later.
I didn't even know there were trees around the sign.
They're laying over.
They must be small trees, right? No?
25 foot.
So I guess they ask you to look at that landscaping. I guess whether you're gonna keep the sign or not. Realistically, if there's not an easement, keep it.
Okay.
Right, there's nothing that forces you to keep it in writing.
Again, I assume whoever owns this is, I mean.
Even when there's easements, we have a problem with maintenance of these signs as well. Pardon me?
Did he buy this from Grosso? or-
Yes.
That's what you're buying it from?
Yes.
I talked to him and asked what he wants done with it. If he wants an easement. What's gonna happen.
And we're gonna want something done with the landscaping there.
I'm sorry.
We'll want something done with the landscaping there.
Yeah, okay.
And it looks like everything else. So are there bathrooms inside the facility?
Yes.
Neil, are we gonna want to see the interior? There's, right now it just shows open space.
Well, I think you mentioned it's not gonna be open space. You might want to take a look into that.
And the floor plan should reflect the Steve ultimately not coming to you.
Well, in this stage, we always have a floor plan. You're gonna know where the utilities enter the building, for what reasons inside. You're gonna see where people are entering and how they're using the facility. Yeah.
So you're gonna want to show on the floor plan, the layout, interior layout.
Okay.
Is there gonna be a dumpster on the site?
I would assume so.
We're gonna want to see that as well with an enclosure.
We don't expect to have much debris, but
Yeah, I didn't know if you would be keeping it inside or
yeah.
so if there's an outside dumpster, we're gonna want to see that on the plan as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, I can't imagine why we would need it, but we'll discuss it.
Okay. Steve,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Neil, and Mark, anything additional?
No, I think again, the reason they came in tonight. Sent this kind of spec plan to the board, if they're. More complete plans. Once the fresh report.
Yeah, it looks like we're going in the right direction.
Okay, good.
Did you have anything else?
No,
All right, well, thank you.
Yep.
We'll see you again.
all right. Thank you.
Mr. Dudzinski, are you here for us tonight? Are you here for the sign?
Yes, I didn't realize that. Fortunate part, I always thought it was difficult working with politicians. I can't fire volunteers, so. What can I help you with?
Well, you're late.
Sorry for the delay. You're late. Somebody had the calling while he's eating dinner.
Oh, good. So we're reviewing the sign tonight, right?
Correct.
You want to tell us what you're doing?
The South Bay Volunteer Fire Department is proposing to replace a sign that's probably been on the corner of Cicero Center and Lake Shore Road for, I'm guessing, over 50 years. And they want to put an electronic sign up there so that they can hopefully have individuals volunteer to be firefighters, at least help, being so difficult, and to recognize people that do things within the neighborhood and within the town.
All right, with that, what about questions from the board? Jim?
Yeah, this is just to replace the existing sign, right? It's gonna go in the same
It's a
spot.
repair.
Okay,
Yeah, they're not changing the poles. The existing sign will be right exactly where it is right now. And it's just to replace the top portion,
and it'll be electronic.
electronic. And it
Okay.
can't move more than, what is it, every 5 seconds? 15 seconds.
It can't be bright.
I'm sure it won't be.
And Neil will read, you gotta be willing to put up amber alert.
Provide Amber Alert.
Yeah, and any type of emergency, signs is necessary, which is basically within our type of work.
You're right. What's that,
I'm good, yes.
Mr. Abbey?
The existing sign has no juice, does it, this time?
No, it's already down. They've taken it down.
Okay.
Sits next to the building. Would you like it?
I think he was asking for electricity
Well,
though.
you could use it up to the Historical Society, maybe.
Do you have power there? You had a light on it, did
Yeah,
you?
yeah, there is electricity out there.
That's a nice looking design.
Hopefully it works out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
I think it's a great idea. I just wish you didn't put the value of the sign in your paperwork. I don't think you had to. When I think about a volunteer fire department having to pay $37,000 to tell people what's going on, but that's life today.
I'll tell you what else is really, gets your eyes open is when you go out and buy a 75-foot ladder and it's $750,000.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what they cost.
750,000.
Well, you mean
750,000.
with a truck.
Yes, the 75-foot aerial truck.
Yeah.
That's one truck that you have.
Hmm.
750,000 and the normal truck is probably running probably, I'm gonna guess 500,000 or 600,000.
See, us not being firm, when you first said a ladder 75 feet and you gave that number, we're just sitting saying, it must be gold plated ladder, so that we had to make sure it was on a truck.
It's on a truck, all right.
Yep. I'm done.
Mr. Bloss.
We're certainly gonna know where South Bay Fire Department is when you get that sign done, but I think it'll, I think it'll work out well for you.
Good, thanks.
Mrs. Hogan.
No questions.
I have none either. Steve.
Awesome.
Neil.
I'm assuming with our typical restrictions on.
Mark. We want seeker. I'll move for the standard seeker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval.
Yes.
Mr. Abbey.
Yes.
Mr. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes, seeker passes. Neil, would you propose a motion for approval, please?
Yes, we move to the adoption of a resolution approving the application on the South Bay Fire Department 8819 Cicero Center Road, proposed electronic message board, proposed electronic. This approval is strictly conditioned on the following: one, the applicant has volunteered to agree to display amber alerts when requested to do so by town officials. Accordingly, the applicant shall do so upon any such request. Report signage will not display any neon or loud or overly bright colors. No messages will scroll for an interval of less than 15 seconds. There will be no flashing, oscillating, or messages. Sign may be.
Somebody like to make that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Duval.
Yes.
Mr. Abbey.
Yes.
Mr. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Bloss.
Yes.
And I vote yes. You're all set.
Sorry.
Thanks for eventually showing up.
Sorry, well, on my way here, I made a few phone calls just to remind people that they were supposed to be here.
Oh, I'm glad I was
So
on
I'm
the other
sure
end of that phone.
They'll be looking forward to seeing me. Thanks.
Thanks, Chuck.
I think the thing, Mark, that I'd like to make sure the audience understands, when you go by the high school and you see the sign doing all kinds of things that we say we don't want to, remember that the high school is a separate government agency and they don't ask Steve for anything.
They're exempt.
They're exempt. So they have a sign that has bright colors, it scrolls, it, whatever.
The last agenda item, the applicant asked yesterday, I think it was, or whenever it was, not yesterday, to hold off on their presentation. They want to have some opportunity to address the items that were brought up by Mark. Mark, I don't know if we should enlighten the board a little bit and we can certainly have a discussion.
Well, I think let's wait to see what they come.
Yeah. I mean, they brought the density down to what we were asking, the 178
Well, I mean, they brought the number of units down.
units.
to a total of 200.
Units, right.
But the plan that they presented had essentially no green space. Exception of areas that were didn't reflect the development that they indicated that this would be similar to is the Utica area. And look at that aerials of that plan and that's it. Much more dense, no green. My opinion didn't. That's what they were proposing, saying that this was going to be. Indicated that they should report this with the applicant. Apparently, they're going back to the drawing board. I don't know what they're going to come back with. What they can do to improve it, but we'll see.
It'd be like if you walk out your slider, you had 10 feet or
Well, yeah.
if that.
Yeah, some of the buildings, they have 3 or 4 different types of units. Some of the units were the driveways, garage doors, the driveways, and the entrances were on one side. On the other side, they had a patio or terraces. Those basically privacy fences in between each of those areas, patios. Couldn't walk around the patio or the privacy fence without stepping into or getting onto the slope of going down into it once management house. Privacy fence, or they had a fence that went along the road. We had, those were 20 to 30 feet from the. Again, there's just. In between the other types of units, it was all pavement.
So even though the units have come down, the density still is not what we
Yeah,
typically.
Once they laid this out and they started. They changed the layouts somewhat from what they. Oh,
Parking lot
Hmm.
is an issue. They got garage with a space right behind it and counted as two.
another issue because basically they've got two spaces for each unit, but one of them is driveway spot, and the other one is
Garage.
the garage. So I don't know if you're willing to count it.
Nice.
Better not start counting that now.
I say no.
So, yeah, so to me, there was just a lot of issues.
Any questions on that? Any questions or comments on anything? Anybody? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
To move.
Second?